Hello, multiplying and dividing decimals by 10, 100 and 1000. Okay, let's go over to, if we're going to multiply, we've got our decimals here and we're going to multiply them by 10. Now, what I've done is I've highlighted how many zeros there are on the end of 10. You've guessed there's 1 0 on the end of 10. That's important because what it means how many places we are going to move that decimal point. So the number of zeros on the end of the number will be the same as how many places we move the decimal point. If it's a multiply, let's get our conventions here. I've done a blue arrow here which indicates I'm going to be multiplying, let's get this right now, to your right. So we're going to be multiplying or moving that decimal point one place to the right when we multiply by 10. So there we go, bounce over there. So our answer will become 33 or 335 now, 0.2, because that decimal point has moved one place to the right. Let's try the same thing with 0.32 times 10. So again, 1 0 on the 10, move that decimal point one place to the right, and that gives us 3.2. Put the decimal in there. Remember, that's bouncing it there. Okay, so in the same way, if we're dividing by 10, 10's still got the 1 0 on the end of it, so the arrows change direction now. So what it does mean is we've got to move that decimal point to the left. All right, let's check it out. To the left. Yes, the left. Right, so I've got 56 here. Oh, I've got a decimal point. If I don't have a decimal point in a number, I've got to put it on the end. So it's only if I don't have a decimal point, I've got to put it on the end. So I'm going to move this decimal point one place to the left. It's going to end up there, leaving my answer being 5.6. Okay, this one's a bit easier because I've actually got the decimal point in there already, so I don't have to make one. So moving that one place to the left, because we're dividing by 10, gives me 3.23. Okay, still with it. Good. Let's go for multiplying by 100 then. So 100, you'll notice, has actually got 2 zeros on the end of it. So you've guessed it. It means that we've now got to move the decimal point 2 places. So here I've got 0.023 times by 100. So moving it 2 places goes 1, 2, and that ends me up then with an answer of 2.3. So move 2 places to the right because we're multiplying. Remember, multiply right. Okay. Now here's one here where we've actually got a whole number, so we haven't got a decimal point in there. What do? Well, we put our decimal point here at the end, because that's what happens when we don't have a decimal point ready made for us, and we've got to move it 1, 2. So it means the decimal point will end up there, so we've got to fill that in with 2 noughts. So our answer becomes 390, and those extra 2 noughts we've had to have because there was a decimal point without the decimal point was on the end because we didn't have one. So that's moved 2 to the right, so that becomes 39,000. Okay, divide by 100. Let's go and do that one. Again, 2 zeros on the end of 100, which means we move that decimal point 2 places to the left. So 1, 2, decimal point there. I'm at the beginning of the numbers there. So what happens then, if my decimal point ends up at the beginning of the number row, I've got to put it in a 0 point, like that. So my answer then becomes 0.5099. Let's have a look here. 12 divided by 100. So again, no decimal point. So we've got to put one in this time. At the end, divide by 100. So that's 2 to the left. 1, 2. I'm at the beginning of the number, so a 0 point's got to arrive here. We've got to put that 0 before the decimal point to give us 0.12. Okay, we're on the last section now. Thousands, really big numbers now, isn't it? So 1,000. 1000's got 3 noughts on the end of it. Right, so 3 noughts multiplied by 1000 means we move 3 places to the right. So 1, 2, 3 ends up there. So we're just left with 22. Now, these noughts, as we're the correct side of this point, you can get rid of them in your answer and just write the number 22. So if you see something like that, where you've just got a decimal point at the end of your answer, you don't have to worry about all the noughts before. You've got rid of them. Okay, 3.77 times 1000. Now let's look at this one. 1 bounce, 2 bounce. Oh, I'm at the end of the number. 3 bounce, and my decimal point will go there, so it means I've got to put a 0 there. So my new number after 3 bounces becomes 3770. Last section. Dividing by 1000. Okay, so here's our decimal point. We've now got to go 3 to the left. So 1, 2, 3. I've got a naught here. My decimal point is actually here, so I've got another place there, and I'm going to put a naught before there. So I've actually got an extra naught in the whole thing. So the answer is going to be 0.032017. Replay that one if you need to. Okay, so you had the decimal point there, we've moved it 3 places, had to create an extra naught after the decimal point, as well as our naught before the decimal point. Final one now. So 0.012, let's get it right, 0.012, and we're dividing by 1000. So here's our decimal point. 1, 2, 3, so 3 to the left, 3 zeros on 1000, decimal point. Okay, so it means I've got to fill in this naught here, and the naught before the decimal point, which is going to end up with 0.000, 3 zeros there, and another one for luck, 4, so 4 zeros after the decimal point, 1, 2. Okay, so there is how we multiply and divide decimal numbers by 10, 100 and 1000.